And I think it's just a matter of what works best for you, right?
Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, Walter, I'd be interested to get your opinions on this. Default mode network. It has some implications in terms of our ego, our ingrained personality. And some people say that if you interrupt that default mode network, you can change your personality, or you can, do certain things with your psychology. What do you think about that?
Well, I've never heard that term before. So you're saying like we operate from like the basis where we operate that's kind of our homeostasis or something? Like we're
yeah, that's, I mean,
there?
In my personal opinion, the science behind it is a little circumstantial, but the idea I think is sound. But yeah, it's like certain parts of the brain or certain networks are activated when we're not doing something like really cognitively strenuous, and we're just kind of relaxing.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
apparently those parts of the brain light up. So they say that that's the parts of the brain that are our true selves or whatever.
Right.
So have you seen anything like that?
No, but what I'm aware of in terms of like personality, because it sounded like you were touching on that. Like they do say, like we used to think in psychology that they say your personality is formed by the age of 5, and then you're stuck. That's not true. And like you've probably noticed, like I lean towards the there's a guy in Cornell University. He might be dead now, but there was a psychologist, a really famous one in Cornell University in New York, and he talked about how like you are different in different environments. So like you have like you have your wife, right? And you're in a certain way with her. Then you've got your like bigger family, like your mom, your dad, her mom, her dad, maybe your kids or your cousins, and then it kind of widens out to your workspace, to your social friends, to people that you kind of know, acquaintances, maybe when you go and watch a UFC fight or something, or whatever, or like go to a casino, you're different in different environments. And so he talks about like these circles that get bigger and bigger, So I think that makes a lot of sense, because I've noticed personally, anecdotally, so I would say in my life, I've noticed like I've made conscious efforts to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? And the easiest way I know to do that is to move someplace because nobody knows you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I believe that personality is very malleable. I think the research supports that. That sounds like a little bit more, what you're talking about is a little bit more in neuroscience, and they probably do, if they've researching that, like they would be using functional MRIs, so they can see where your brain's lighting up and stuff. So I don't know much about that. Like if, let's say you go to work and you go a certain way every day, you walk down the street a certain way, you catch the bus, a certain bus at a certain time, you get off the bus, you walk a certain way to work or whatever, or maybe you drive your car, you drive your car to work, you drive the same route every day, unless there's a detour or something, you park it in the same general area. You know what I mean? Like, so I always try to mix it up. Like I try not to, where I live, it's really easy to not go anywhere because everything is right here. And it's a really small community, right? It's like living on an island. It's a little tiny peninsula, and there's like, you're surrounded by water, and like, you're kind of like stuck, right? Unless you really make an effort to get off the island, which luckily there's several ways to go. You can go by by car over a bridge, or you can go by boat or whatever. Like, it's so easy for me to like walk to the store the same way, walk to my kids' school the same way. Like, you know what I mean? But I think it's good to break it up and do different things so that your brain is somewhat uncomfortable. And that might be kind of what they're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Have you seen like Dr. Michael Parsinger's work on the God helmet? Well,
but I've heard about it. I've seen like a video or something. Tell me more.
Yeah. So he had a similar concept he called the binding factor, and he measured a 8 hertz signal, I think, that went from back to front of your brain. It kind of just cycled, and he found that if you use magnets to interrupt that movement, you can kind of get certain effects. Like some people became a little bit more aware of things. Some people improved their psychic abilities. Some people saw God, right? And like 1% of them. So I think there is something to interrupting that signal, or some signal that's in there, right? And that can be through doing your activities differently, or putting magnets in your brain or whatever it is. But I think there is something to it for sure.
Hey there, I hope you're finding this episode useful. I just wanted to let you know that Walter and I give away something valuable every month that helps traders improve their skills. You can enter to win by simply leaving an iTunes review and leaving a comment on our YouTube videos. At the end of each month, we'll look at the comments and reviews from the month, and we'll pick a winner at random. Each comment and each review counts for one entry during the month that it's submitted. So if you're interested in that, be sure to enter after this podcast is over. All right, back to the episode.
Yeah, like to me, the general takeaway would be, that's fascinating, by the way. Thanks for sharing that. Because I heard about the God helmet, and I just saw like a quick video or something about it, or somebody talking about it.
You can actually get it.
You can buy it.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for those sorts of things. But I think the general takeaway would be like, break it out, like change your habits. Like, it's so easy as people to just fall in the same habits. You know what I mean? And it's thinking habits too. It's not just like physical things like walking to work or whatever, or, walking to the store or riding your bike to the store or whatever. Like it's also thinking habits too. When you become a parent, it's like you see these patterns in your kids' thinking and you try and show them like there's another way. You don't have to always look at it this way. And I think we forget that we can do that for ourselves too. It's what's it's so useful to have like a trading accountability partner, because they can often point out things from a different point of view,
Yeah, totally.
So, or a mentor or whatever, like somebody that says, well, you don't always have to look at it this way. And just like you don't always have to act a certain way. You don't always have to have this sort of personality. You can have a different personality. Like when I was a kid, I was extremely shy. And the only reason why I was able to somewhat break out of that was because I started doing magic shows at a young age. So I had to learn to suck it up and get in front of a crowd, even though like, when I'm 6 years old, it's only a crowd of like 5-year-olds, like 5 kids or whatever. But it's still like I had to learn that, and we can do that with anything. We can do that with thinking habits. We can do that with physical habits. So yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It is tricky though. Like what the God helmet gets into, it sounds like, is that, these things are almost like hardwired. So it takes something drastic to kind of like break the connection and force it to go another way. Right.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting to me. I suppose that I would say that there might be other ways, like the nuns that had the brains of, what do you call it when they Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So they had Alzheimer's brains when they scanned them, but because they did so much reading, meditating, and like just gardening, simple stuff, almost like they were in a Zen monastery, like these nuns, even though their brains look like normal Alzheimer patients, they were normal functioning. So, I think there's ways that your brain can, the whole plasticity of the brain thing where, the connections can go around, because Alzheimer's is basically like plaque in your brain, like black spots where it's like your brain, the connections have to go around, the neurons have to go around for you to function normally. And apparently, if you're very mentally active, that can happen. I think that's the case also with meditation. Like people that are lifelong meditators, I think it's the same sort of deal where, you start making these connections. Perhaps, I'm not read up on the research, but perhaps that's the sort of thing that would maybe give you a similar effect, to what you're talking about. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of different ways to get there. Like you could do meditation, you could do whatever, the God helmet, you could do psychedelics, you could do all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just a matter of what works best for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like so many things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, Walter.
Thanks.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.